The first sound you hear is the wind, slow and lonely, moving through tall grass like it is whispering secrets no one wants to remember. A man stands still in that wind, his back scarred, his shoulders heavy, carrying a past he no longer runs from. He did not come here to live. He came here to disappear. And what he finds inside this broken cabin will change 3 lives forever. Stay with this story, because what begins in silence will end in love, sacrifice, and a family no one expected. Before we go any further, if you enjoy deep emotional stories like this, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel right now. It really helps Western love story grow, and it makes sure you never miss another powerful story like this one. The Apache warrior had seen too much blood to count. He had buried brothers, watched villages burn, and survived battles that should have taken his life many times over. The world he once knew was gone. The land was changing, the tribes were breaking, and the old ways were fading like smoke after a fire. He was tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep can fix, but the kind that lives inside the bones. So when he heard about an abandoned cabin far from town, forgotten by everyone, he paid what little he had without asking questions. He did not plan to fix it. He did not plan to farm. He planned to sit inside that cabin and wait for death to come quietly. The cabin stood alone in a clearing, surrounded by tall grass and wild trees. The roof was broken, the wood was dark with age, and the door hung crooked on its hinges. To anyone else, it looked useless. To him, it looked perfect. No people, no memories, no voices calling his name. He stood in front of it, feeling nothing, and pushed the door open. Inside, the air smelled old and damp. Dust floated in the sunlight. There was a broken table, 1 chair, and a cold fireplace. He dropped his small bag on the floor and sat down slowly. The silence wrapped around him. For the first time in years, no one needed him. No one feared him. No one followed him. He closed his eyes and breathed. That was when he heard it. A soft sound. Not the wind. Not an animal. A small, careful movement behind the cabin. His body reacted before his mind did. He stood, silent as a shadow, and stepped outside. His eyes scanned the trees, the grass, the space behind the cabin. And then he saw her. A woman stood there, frozen in fear, holding a small boy close to her chest. Her clothes were worn, her face pale, her eyes wide. The boy could not have been older than 5. He clung to her, silent, watching the Apache warrior with fear and curiosity mixed together. For a long moment, no one spoke. The man raised his empty hands slowly, showing he carried no weapon. He did not know why he did this. It was not habit. It was instinct. Something deeper than thought. "This is my cabin now," he said finally, his voice low and calm. "I did not know anyone was here." The woman swallowed. "We were not staying," she said quickly. "We were just resting. We will leave." She turned as if to run, but the boy stumbled, tired and weak. The man saw it. He saw the way the child leaned into her, the way her arms shook. "Wait," he said. They froze again. "You have nowhere to go," he said, not as a question. Tears filled her eyes, but she nodded. Her name was Mary. The boy's name was Thomas. Her husband had died the previous winter. The land they lived on was taken. The town offered no help. People looked at her like she was already gone. She had been moving from place to place, hiding, surviving on almost nothing. The cabin had been empty, or so she thought. She only wanted 1 night of shelter. The Apache warrior listened without interruption. When she finished, the silence returned. He looked at the cabin. He looked at the woman and her son. And for the first time in a long time, death did not feel so close. "You can stay," he said. Mary stared at him. Why? He did not answer because he did not know. The days that followed were awkward and quiet. They stayed on opposite sides of the cabin. He slept near the door. She slept with her son near the fireplace. They spoke little, but slowly the cabin changed. Mary cleaned. Thomas laughed quietly when he thought no one was listening. The man fixed the roof, patched the walls, repaired the door. Not because he planned to live long, but because the rain came and the child was cold. Food was scarce. The man hunted. He left meat outside the cabin and never watched them take it. Mary cooked and left a small portion near his side of the room. It was not trust yet, but it was respect. One night, Thomas woke screaming from a nightmare. Mary tried to calm him, but he could not stop crying. The man sat up, tense, memories rushing back. He almost left the cabin that night, but then Thomas looked at him through tears and whispered, "Are you a warrior?" The question hit harder than any blade. "Yes," he said. "Will you protect us?" The boy asked. The man looked at Mary. She looked back, afraid of the answer. He nodded once. Yes. From that night on, something shifted. Thomas followed him everywhere, asking questions, watching how he moved, how he listened to the land. Mary watched too. She saw the gentleness in his actions, the patience he showed the child, the sadness he hid behind his silence. Seasons passed. The grass turned gold. The trees changed color. Laughter slowly filled the cabin. The man began to feel something he thought was gone forever, purpose, but peace never lasts forever. One afternoon, strangers came riding through the land. They saw smoke from the cabin. They saw a woman, a child, and an Apache warrior living together. Fear turned into anger. Anger turned into threats. They told Mary the land was not hers. They told the man he did not belong. They said they would return with more men. That night, the man packed his bag. "I will leave," he told Mary. "They will not come if I am gone." Mary shook her head. "This is your home, too. It was never meant to be," he said. Thomas hugged him tightly. "Don't go." The man knelt in front of the boy. His voice broke. "I came here to die, but you gave me life. I will not be the reason you lose yours." Before dawn, he walked into the forest. The men returned days later. They searched. They found nothing. The cabin stood quiet. And then from the trees, the Apache warrior returned. He did not come alone. He had spoken to others. Old friends. Broken men like him. Warriors who had nothing left to lose. They stood together, silent and strong. The strangers left and never returned. The cabin was no longer a place to die. It was a place to live. Years later, the land around the cabin was full of life. Crops grew. Smoke rose every morning. Laughter echoed through the trees. The Apache warrior sat on the steps, older now, with Thomas beside him and Mary at his side. He had not planned this life. He had not asked for love, but it found him anyway. If this story touched your heart, make sure you leave a comment below and share this video with someone who loves emotional Western stories. Your comments and shares help Western Love Story reach more people, and they mean more than you know.